Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about, a lot of these studies and the research and things that we're seeing on ultra high volumes of training. And I'm talking 20 plus sets of muscle group. We have studies going up to 30, 40, 52 sets. And showing, at least in the short term, very minor benefits in hypertrophy. And again, we have to try to take a mature approach to interpreting a lot of this data and assessing the truth of it. And a lot of people don't want to accept that there's probably some truth to that. The data may actually be accurate. I, of all people, are one of those people. But I also then, when that data came out, experimented with some of it a bit myself just to see how I felt. I'm like, well, this is pretty decent evidence, okay? And when it comes to a lot of scientific stuff, I don't like the idea of being dismissive because we don't like what's being said, right? I don't think that that is wise, and we have to look at it in the total body of evidence. And I think based upon what we're seeing in the evidence, it very well may be true that these extremely high volumes may offer very, very, very small. And keep in mind, that is what the evidence is showing. Like, it's showing literally if you go from, 10, 12, 15 sets a week for a muscle, more moderate to the higher end of volume to ultra high volume, we're talking like 30 plus sets. It looks like, at least for some muscles, there can be a very, very small additional amount of muscle growth, right? I mean, that is what the evidence is largely showing, multiple studies now. Okay? So we can't be dismissive of that. But what are the problems with it? Couple of problems. One of which I observed with my own training when I messed with it a bit, your intensity starts to go down. I noticed when I was doing this to where it was, I was doing 20 sets for every muscle and at least 30 sets for weak muscles, right? At least 30 sets for my weakest muscles every week. Some of that was getting a little, like arms in particular. But the things that I noticed even when I started doing those volumes, when we start going to 20 sets for a muscle a week, let alone the 30, I personally notice, and this again, anecdote, but again, I think it's fairly common. Other coaches have pointed this out in response to this. We get lazier with that training. In other words, as training volumes go up, we get lazier with the set quality because we have to do so much in a workout. Some of these workouts, we're talking taking 2 hours or more, right? Because what was I doing? Let's say a typical upper body day, doing upper body like that twice a week. 5 sets of flat bench, 5 sets of incline. Keep in mind, this is done more than once a week. 5 sets of pull-up, 5 sets of rows. Then we did all that arm work. And there were times where I was doing 10 sets for biceps, 10 sets for triceps. Okay? And I'm counting it as 30 because if we count some of the other stuff as half sets, that's 30. But if we count bench press and pull-ups and all that as full sets, we're talking 40 sets for arms, right? Now, that being said, because my arms were a weak link, all that volume, I felt like they did slightly improve. But doesn't mean we can't do that on half the volume, okay? And that therein lay the conundrum. But set quality went down. The ability to replicate performance went down. So as soon as I took all of that and cut it way back, took all those 5 sets and exercise down to 3, all of a sudden I'm doing more weight for more reps. Okay? Because I'm not holding back as much. I'm taking sets much, much closer to the edge. Same thing with a lot of the arm work. Dumbbell lifts I could only get maybe 12 reps with. I'm hitting 20 all of a sudden. Okay? Set quality diminishes. And it starts to get grueling. There's a psychological component that has to be factored in. And I think this is something that we have to think about. Our clients, ourselves, the people we give advice to, because in this case I have all 3, right? I'm an influencer and I'm a coach and I train myself, okay? You have to think about that psychological component. Workouts start to get grueling. People don't want to do them. We get lazy during the workouts. All right, big deal. Then we come over to the risk of overuse, and I think this also comes with the lazier component. When we're doing these sort of volumes, we do tend to get even looser with form because we just want to get through it all. Okay, instead of being focused. And then we have the overuse component. What is the agree? This is again what the research is showing. The number one cause of weight room injuries is overuse. All right, high risk of overuse. And that's what's going to happen. You start doing even 20 sets can lead to this, I think. But 30, 40, yeah. Or connective tissue may not have time to recover. This is my same issue with daily training. People are like, oh, if I've got a weak muscle, I'm just going to train it every day. It's like, you're running a risk of tendonitis. You're running the risk of those tendons getting inflamed. Because it's not a little small movement like, just doing something in a work environment. It's still relatively intense, even if it's stuff you can do for 15 reps. That's a lot of accumulated stress on the connective tissue that may not have time to recover. And it's the same with these really high volumes, because ultimately, you end up spacing it out more. That becomes common. Maybe to get that 40 sets, you've got to do extra sessions. All right, this is problematic on a tendonitis side or recovery side. Well, the tendonitis also leads to potential injuries. And I think this is a combination that we have to be aware of when we're discussing this type of training, the practical aspects. Okay, because it's one thing in the lab to say, okay, there may be some small benefits, and I'm not going to deny that, because I'm not going to, deny multiple studies that are showing this. Okay? But we have to think of it from a practical perspective. And to make it work, if you're going to do this, you better be aware of these risks. Number one, the overuse. Number two, lazy in the training. Number three, as we get lazy in training, form starts to degrade. Okay, so then when form degrades, we tend to putting more stress and stuff sometimes on tendons, joints, combining that with the overuse, right? I think injury risks are going to go up. And herein lay another issue. If we're getting injured, we're definitely making less gains. Whatever minor benefits we got from the really high volume, if it leads to injury, is a problem. So these are the things to be aware of. These are the things to be aware of if you choose to go this route. Because again, the science is showing it, but it doesn't mean it's always practical for everyone. So again, if you choose to go this route, assuming you have the free time to do it, you better think very seriously about recovery. You better think very seriously about overuse, the laziness in the training, the form getting looser and looser as you get lazy, and then that risk of injury going up. All right, these are the factors to consider. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.